What? He's on Twitch? What the heck? YouTube's that way, old man. Get on over there. I will. Okay, but I have my reasons for being here and having this conversation, so let's have it. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, showing up on Twitch on the evening after a fun collab stream over on YouTube, and to put something on this channel and update anybody who may come over here as to why it is that I'm a YouTuber. I've kind of made a name for myself as being a guy who's very, very cynical of Twitch and is like some kind of YouTube elitist, despite being somewhere between a has-been and a never was over on YouTube. But it's just, look, one of the things you learn in life is you don't want to lie to people to keep them happy. It's because they find out you're lying, and they find out that you're lying, and they hate you even more as a result of that. What is up with this color on this thing? That would be Smurfa vision, and this would be purple vision. I'll go with purple. I'm working on my lighting setup anyway, so it's just weird that maybe it might be the glasses that are doing it. So I'm here today to have a little discussion, and I have designed this stream to go nowhere. It's in just chatting, which you should know is a death sentence for anybody who doesn't already have critical mass on Twitch. And that's because I want to say my piece and have something in here for people to see when they come over here. And sometimes it's weird, I don't know why I get some shout outs from some smaller streamers when I stop by in their chats and stuff, and when I sub and things like that. So if people come over to my channel and want to know what the heck, why, what's over here, why is there nothing over here, well, they have something to watch. Last time I did this, I made a highlights, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with this chat stream here. I showed up with only one single YTAL track for music, and the rest is going to be straight up just talking about stuff. So sit back, relax, put this on your screen number 2, treat it like a podcast, because it pretty much is. Wow, throat's a little messed up. Oh well. I'm also sneaking this in here on Twitch right before going off and doing the chores for the week, so I can't be here too long, but I want to basically say my piece, and then that's that with that, basically. So let's see what's happened since I've been gone. Anything? A lot of stuff, actually. Looking at some of these things here that I have set up, and it looks like there's been a few technical refinements, some improvements with the algorithms and stuff, and if I set some things up like with what I have for, there we go, and this. I also have my PowerPoint slide from last time, which I have updated, by the way. I think this will work. I don't really intend on running ad breaks or anything, and I'm not even going to use the ad scheduler. I like the new ad system for Twitch, but it's only good for people with a critical mass on Twitch, which I'm not one of them. I'm far more established on YouTube than I probably will ever be on Twitch, because I just have really no reason to do anything with this channel. A little history for anyone who's new. I've known about Twitch for an incredibly long time as a gaming platform, as a streaming platform. The game side of Twitch is something is what I'm most familiar with, and it's what Twitch originally was. About 10 years ago, I first made my Twitch account largely to watch speedrunners, like Mario 64 speedrunners and the like. Then Twitch had its dark period of tons and tons of technical issues, people getting swatted, DDoSed, things that were landing Twitch in the news for bad reasons, and of course there were all the community town halls and all the other stuff. And then when WoW Classic launched, hey Logan, what's going on? When WoW Classic launched in 2019, I basically played World of Warcraft and then watched some streamers stream it on screen number 2 as I set everything up for an eventual interest in live streaming. My involvement in Twitch as a streamer is mostly a 2020 thing during the lockdown period. It was something new that I did because the technology was finally available for me to actually stream and not have it be in standard def, because it's DSL country out here if you have Frontier internet. So I gave it a shot. I got to Twitch affiliate by the end of the year by playing unpopular games. One of the biggest surprises for me was that Super Mario Kart is usually an empty category. The original Mario Kart game on the Super Nintendo, I guess people like analog sticks that much. So me showing up and playing the SNES version of it with digital controls, people seem to like some of the retro games that I did, and that's how I got my 3 concurrents to become a Twitch affiliate. But I mean, being in some categories that are nearly empty, getting the few viewers that actually want to watch that stuff still instead of going into the retro category, it just didn't seem all that interesting, especially as YouTube spent 2020 starting work on improving their own streaming offerings from the horrendously bad experience that streaming on YouTube originally was, like having to click go live twice just to go live. Just obviously YouTube streaming was something that was shoehorned in to the existing video infrastructure that's already established on YouTube. They have improved things a crap ton since then, and there is very ambitious leadership now with Lester Chen and the folks at the top trying to establish YouTube gaming and YouTube Live as a viable streaming alternative. And of course, what's gone down with Twitch in the last nearly 2 years with DMCA and banned streamers and the banned streamer rule and monetization and stuff has basically created an environment where people are getting more and more curious about YouTube streaming. And myself, as an established YouTuber, have been working. I made the decision basically that it would be more worth it to integrate streaming into my existing YouTube presence than to start all over on a platform like Twitch, even though I've known Twitch since the days I was watching Mario 64 speedrunners 10 years ago. Even though I've known Twitch as a gaming platform, even gaming stuff over here, I just don't know anymore. I know too much. I'd have to play dumb to really be chasing after Twitch. That's just the thing. The differences between these platforms are what they are. YouTube is the second largest social media platform in the world, only beaten by Facebook in terms of monthly active users. They have a lot of advertising stuff, a lot of systems and algorithms in play. Some of the algorithms get in the way of you progressing as a YouTuber, but it does create a way to progress, as opposed to over here where, number one, the platform is too small for what it is and what it does. There's just plain not enough of an audience for everybody who wants to be a Twitch streamer, and that audience is shrinking because the bubble is bursting and whatnot. I think we talked about this last time, but we'll do a numbers update on the Solinome 365, expanded out to the last couple of years and stuff like that, and we'll talk about things that way as well. But one of the biggest catalysts here, Logan stopped by, that was fun, that was cool and all. Hello, how you doing? Was last night's Ninja Turtles collab. So one of the things I wanted to do with the Ninja Turtles collab was square the platforms off against each other. Neither myself nor Logan really have much of a Ninja Turtles background on our channels, or at least with the games. Maybe he's talked about the cartoons and stuff before. But he said himself he'd never played any of the beat-em-ups, and I haven't played Ninja Turtles beat-em-ups since the NES days. So I've almost never talked about Ninja Turtles on my channel in the past 15 years. I'm not known for anything Ninja Turtles related, so as far as both of us were concerned, we were starting fresh. And the numbers were quite sobering. I cannot believe that as a nobody, as far as Ninja Turtles fans were concerned, the YouTube stream got like 50-something views while live, maximum 7 concurrents from something I'd never streamed before. Now, and YouTube gaming is incredibly small compared to the gaming scene on Twitch. The way YouTube streaming normally works is if you get concurrence at all, you're doing good, because YouTube has a lot of UI and engineering problems to sort out to make streams easier to get to and to make it an actual destination for game streaming, unlike Twitch. Twitch has a very robust, established game directory. YouTube has game directories, but they're hidden. The only way you get to them is by searching for a video about a video game, then clicking the little box in the description. It takes too many clicks, and therefore only nerds like myself who bookmark stuff like the ESO directory or the World of Warcraft directory to compare YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, how they are in terms of streaming platforms for everything. Only nerds like myself really stay on top of this and really know these hidden differences between the platforms. And then, of course, there's the numbers involved. Occasionally, nerds talk about numbers, and I find out about them. Part of my inspiration for the analyst side of what I do is Devin Nash, but even he's changed what he does. He stopped streaming on Twitch months ago, and his YouTube channel's been quiet for a month. So even in terms of the commentaries that he used to be known for, he hasn't been around. And I've seen other names and faces in commentary on regarding YouTube and Twitch and streaming and what I call the multimedia meta, stuff like that. I've actually seen some very familiar names and faces where if I said their names, you'd probably know who they are, that have stopped doing this stuff. And some of it, I think, with Devin Nash at least, is he's got a job in an agency that has to be able to have relationships with content creators. That's not going to jive well with him analyzing the heck out of them and making videos about them. I'll bet any money, whatever analysis he still does is very heavily nerfed compared to what it would have been like a year or two ago. So, as a commentator, Devin Nash is basically doing his own thing. I don't think he's ever going to be what people thought he was 2 years ago ever again. It's just, he was always a part-time content creator, but now his involvement with Novo and the other businesses that he's in, whatever business he gets involved with, probably dictates that his content can't be what people liked him for with his analysis and commentary and stuff. So it's, look, you know, I don't have that conflict of interest. I'm a guy with a regular job. You know, I do have a background in analytics and business and a formal business degree, and I keep an eye on numbers because, you know, ever since the analytics job, it showed me the value of not only numbers themselves, but what goes into them. I'm exactly the kind of person that some Pepe Frog spamming Twitch chat people would call an analyst Andy. And I'm 40 now, so I'm old enough to be like some old nerd trying to find some way to throw around some nerd street cred or whatever you want to call it with that kind of stuff. So anyways, the Ninja Turtles collab was quite sobering. My stream got 7 max concurrents, even though I'd never done any Ninja Turtle stuff, probably ever for most of the people watching. 7 max concurrents for 50-something views, which puts it into tech video territory as a live stream. That is massive. And there have been 30 more views since then from the after the fact crowd. So this, it's just like I could make the whole channel into like Ninja Turtles playthroughs until people got bored with it if I really wanted to chase numbers. But there's a lot of other things I want to do on my channel besides whatever happens to be popular at the moment, like that Ninja Turtles game that is stoking nostalgia across multiple generations because Ninja Turtles has been around that long. It's like the DVD re-releases of The Lion King in the 2000s. When an IP gets old enough, it can be introduced to a whole new generation, and there are lots of stories across Reddit, the blogosphere, and other places where people talk about experiences with the game, where they're like, I was playing this game with my son, it was a great father-son thing, da-da-da, I really like this game, thank you for releasing it, it reminds me of my childhood, and it made my son's childhood wonderful too. So there's a whole bunch of sentimental stuff going on with Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge and Commentary Palooza on YouTube. Some people are being contrarian, saying the game sucks somehow and they're trying to make it better. And I'll just say right now, Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is the Shovel Knight of the 2020s. It's going to have the same appeal that Shovel Knight had back in 2014. So it's going to pull the same heartstrings. It's got to unite generations, even though it's a retro style game. And it is absolutely, it's like Shovel Knight all over again. And it's really cool. And I actually like the game. It's just, I don't have the time right now to really become a big Ninja Turtles freak. And people might accuse me of being a sellout if I get too far away from my tech videos and other commentary type stuff to begin with, just to play Ninja Turtles all the time and chase numbers. But, and of course, Logan, yeah, I saw the concurrent number over here, and I saw the 3 views after stream, before the after the fact crowd got to it. Got like, what, 8 or 10 views now? And don't forget, views on Twitch on the video side can be increased by F5ing. YouTube patched that out years ago. So it was the most sobering reminder of the massive differences between these platforms once you know some of the very, very important differences. Now, before a lot of these talking heads that comment on analysis of these platforms started moving on to other things, one of the things you would have heard from nearly all of them was, there's no discoverability on Twitch. That was the tip of the iceberg. Truth of the matter is, YouTube is the second largest social media platform in the world after Facebook. TikTok is on that list. Reddit is on that list. Twitter is on that list. Twitch is not. That's how big of a numbers difference there is in the size of the audience between the platforms. Twitch has tried, but it's niche. And I think, much like Devin mentioned in one of his videos on it, I think that Twitch's future is niche. People are going to come to Twitch because it's Twitch. They like Twitch specifically, and even when the brand loses its strength on the gaming side, when YouTube gaming fixes some of the UI problems over there, there's still going to be some kind of core audience on Twitch that's going to keep the platform around. But the truth of the matter is that Twitch's history, and I do have the slide, by the way. We're going to go over the slide at the end of the discussion. I've moved a few things around as to why I'm not a Twitch streamer. But I think what's important to talk about here is the Sully Gnome 365 expanded out to cover about 5 years worth of stuff. Browser mode. Give me my pointer, please. This is the concurrence of the entire platform going back to Sully Gnome first collecting data in September of 2015. And we see in the mid-2010s, things are kind of up and down. And then the adpocalypse happens. The adpocalypse era of the late 2010s is when a lot of big names, some of which I could name drop right now, and many of you would know who they are, a lot of big names on Twitch attained their critical mass during a time when YouTube, quite frankly, was screwing up. The beginnings of the adpocalypse, the beginnings of demonetization, the beginnings of people cussing out Susan Wojcicki for, trying to make YouTube more friendly to advertisers, because advertisers are notoriously fickle about where their ads are displayed. I mean, it's very, very snobby dealing with advertisers. The whole situation with YouTube in the late 2010s drives many people over to Twitch. And then there's the monetization issues. Twitch rolls out donos, subs, bits, the whole 9 yards, before anything similar exists on YouTube, and it's just ad revenue. So you have a situation where people wanting to be full-time content creators are having a much harder time doing so. And then there are people getting kicked out of the partner program because YouTube saw the ad revenue tank so much that they gated it behind a certain amount of activity before going too far in the other direction for their tastes and adding in what's called a right to monetize, which has been diluting ad revenue for YouTube partners ever since. So if you're not in the partner program, but you have an advertiser-friendly video, YouTube will put ads on it. You can't control the ads, and YouTube takes all the money. So it's right in the terms of service these days. So the late 2010s was the beginning of these problems. Needless to say, some disgruntled creators who saw the differences in monetization when YouTube didn't have good ad revenue changed to Twitch. And one of the big things that people used to say is that you need less success on Twitch to attain the same success as a content creator money-wise than you do on YouTube. So a certain amount of ad revenue, a certain amount of revenue to be able to pay like more than one bill with Twitch income, you need less of it on Twitch than you do on YouTube. That's changed since then, now that YouTube has supers. The only issue with YouTube is that the partner program is still all together. Ad revenue and supers, and it's gated behind the toughest requirements among these three platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So the partner program is long overdue to be revamped at this point to fix this problem. And Twitch right now benefits because YouTube hasn't fixed their own issues. But let's look at the growth here. The reason why I zoom this out all the way is to combine together the ups and downs that are specific to Twitch viewership because of the time zones that Twitch is the most popular platform in. So let's see here. What's the progression? It's flat in the 2010s. The adpocalypse era sees some growth, and then it stalls out in 2019. And then this big jump is the pandemic, the 2020 lockdowns, COVID-19 making the rounds. Most of the lockdowns in the United States were in early 2020, and then some businesses started back up because the effects on the economy, stuff like that. The vaccine came out in 2021. General availability in the U.S. was around spring of 2021. Then there was vaccine adoption and booster development and rolling out the timetable and other variants like the Delta variant, Omicron variant, and now then BA2, BA2.12.1, and now for the summer of 2022, there's BA4 and 5, which I think are going to stunt this decline that we see until we see if there's anything after that for major variants of COVID. So here's the thing, though. People were stuck home. Twitch and online media in general benefited greatly from many, many people discovering it for the first time. The question now is, who sticks around? The important thing to watch with Twitch, especially if you come over to Sully Gnome and watch these numbers for yourself, is this 2.5 million concurrence mark. This represents 2020 into 2021 for Twitch. Here's 2020, initial spike, things drop in the summer. People go outside for a bit. UK Alpha variant drives people back indoors and isolate a bit more because we don't have a vaccine yet. And around Christmas time, the peak effect of it, the Delta variant did more, but UK Alpha was our first wave. And if we were our first variant wave, and if you remember the news coverage from the end of 2020, UK Alpha was worse than the original strain. No, more transmissible, etc. It was more severe. So everybody forgets that because it's been eclipsed by Delta and Omicron. But here is the end of 2020 for Twitch. They hover around 2.5 million concurrents, except Christmas Day is a terrible day for Twitch viewership for obvious reasons. For the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 5 years at least, Twitch is terrible on Christmas. Huge drop in concurrence for the holiday. But other than that, what we have here is about 2.5 million concurrents was the end of 2020. Everything above 2.5 mil is the gains from 2021, which have effectively been erased. There was a little of it at the beginning of the year as Omicron was going around. Omicron was an end of 2021 variant. But once that crashed mid-January, we got back on to what we saw after, what's this, June, July, August? Let's see here. Oh, this is the Delta variant territory, but either way. So this line right here is 2020 to 2021. If Twitch can't stay above this line, they have lost their viewership gains from 2021, like what we saw here, here, and here. They did a little bit in 2022, but, then mask mandates got pulled back. All kinds of other stuff got pulled back. The question is, how much is BA4 and 5 going to drive people, if there isn't a government mandate or mask mandates or something, because they're playing politics, trying not to make it look like things are getting worse again, will people be spooked into staying home watching stuff again, even if there isn't like government mandates or something, or lockdowns? That's the question. Otherwise, recently, since March actually, Twitch has been hanging around 2.5 million concurrents, and so if they're around this line, they've erased their gains from 2021. This platform has erased its gains in 2021. The question is, how much lower does it go? Here's pre-pandemic down here when growth stalled out in 2019. I think it'll be somewhere between here and here. So unfortunately, you talk about mental health with streamers. There's got to be streamers here on Twitch that are going to have to come to grips with the fact that a lot of the reason why they are what they are is because of a once-in-a-century pandemic. So, and what goes up must come down. It's going to be a bit of a problem with Twitch streamers taking this thing personally when it's just something that's just happening anyways. When there's problems with sponsors, there's problems with concurrence, there's problems with other stuff. It's gonna be rough, to say the least. There's a lot of parts of streaming right now that feature never-ending collabs, special events, and I would dare say pseudo TV shows right now. I think that's a defensive move against the popping bubble of the pandemic. And so if you really like certain streamers, now's the time to be really nice to them, because they've got a long year or two ahead of them as we figure out where this decline is going to stop, if it's going to stop. Because at the same time, YouTube is pursuing feature parity with Twitch. TikTok has live streaming. Instagram has some form of live streaming. There's other platforms. And Twitch is in a situation that YouTube has already been in before, where the thing that makes Twitch unique is showing up everywhere else. And the question is how to weather that. With YouTube was the online video platform for years. And now all of a sudden everybody has YouTube. Everybody has video. What do you do? Twitch is a streaming platform. What do you do when TikTok has streaming, Instagram has streaming, Facebook has streaming, YouTube has streaming? Streaming is getting commoditized. The rights holders have streaming with all the plus services that are out, like Paramount Plus, Disney Plus. And many of these high commercial, large organization streaming setups are coming in at price points similar to a tier 1 sub on Twitch. $5 a month to watch a Twitch streamer who only streams like 6 hours a day and it's just whatever they happen to be doing or whatever, or what game they happen to be playing, or access to an entire catalog of stuff like HBO or Disney or Paramount that a huge IP owns. It's rough. How this monetization shakes out is a giant question mark. But it's happened before. There was a time on YouTube when individual creators kind of fell by the wayside in favor of MCNs, multi-channel networks. Organizations came in, and there's corporate channels as well, channels run by networks and corporations and rights holders and stuff. So it muddied up the waters and kind of put a dent in the ability to be successful as an individual content creator. Some of that came back when the MCNs collapsed, when YouTube changed up their policies on managing content creators, with the managed partners versus affiliates thing for MCNs, where you had to declare responsibility over one of your folks' conduct on YouTube in order to remain what MCNs previously were. That's a whole nother discussion. But I think the muddying of waters between individuals and collective entities is going to be a thing on Twitch, just like it was on YouTube. And it may not necessarily be the orgs getting involved. It may be the special events and the collabs that erode away a lot of the identity of individual streamers and make it to where, well, what if I like streamer number 1 but not streamer number 2? Do I just not watch the collab because I'd rather be watching somebody who's still doing what I originally subscribed to streamer number 1 for? There's all of that to consider, all of that to think about very seriously, and all of that to look at here. And then there's the question of, here's the line right here, how much lower is this going to drop? And then there's Twitch by design, who has been trying to improve things, and I give Twitch, tech folks credit for trying to roll out more algorithms and more modernized features to get away from the kingmaker system they've had with whoever's at the top stays at the top. The problem is algorithms what's going on YouTube right now is the age of the pastiche. If you resemble other creators stylistically, the algorithms link you together and you get more views. If you do something really original, you're guaranteed to not get views because the algorithms don't know what to do with you, and it's left up to popular support. And who's going to find you in a day and age where half of the internet, where people in general are suspicious of advertising, and a lot of the internet gets angry at you if you talk about the fact that you make content or you're a content creator because no self-promotion. How do you plan on getting known by anybody or getting introduced to anybody in this kind of a climate? How do you exactly plan on doing that? It just does. The numbers don't add up. So you're waiting for lightning to strike, basically. You're waiting for the algorithms to do something, and your content is too different for the algorithms to do anything with them. There you go. So on Twitch, I find this mostly with Korean chat streamers. This is happening because many of them have similar setups, and that causes there to be cosmetic similarities between various streamers. The Twitch algorithms that exist now in that lower panel down on the lower left are introducing me to new streamers from South Korea literally every single night, unless I'm losing track of who's who, which is very easy to do because I've been introduced to so many stylistically similar chat streamers from South Korea because I'm night shift. So usually it's daytime over there when it's nighttime over here. I've been introduced to so many darn streamers that they're blending together and I forget who's who and whatnot. And I almost don't even want to be involved in chat because I'm having such a hard time keeping up with all these folks. And I don't want to mix anybody up. But that's all algorithms. That's all algorithms doing this. And so, but this is something platforms do that is fundamentally at odds with what any content creator wants. The content creator wants to grow an audience and a fan base and, be supported and respected as a content creator. The platform wants to make sure your audience and fan base always has somebody to watch, even if it's not you. What if something happens to you? What if you quit streaming? What if you get banned? The platform doesn't want to lose your viewers, so there needs to be alternatives, so the algorithms will introduce your audience and fan base to your potential replacements. Happens on YouTube as well. Happens everywhere. Any platform that has their stuff together is going to want to do this. It is fundamentally at odds with who you are as a content creator, though. So that's a struggle that anybody who makes anything is going to have to deal with. So you have all of this going on. And it's pretty easy to see why is there mental health issues with streamers? And then there's streaming itself. And then there's the whole idea of if you're not live, your content is dead. One of the weaknesses of live streaming. You can't edit, so you can't make what you're spending hours doing into a better use of your time until after the fact if you give up more hours or you offload that to an editor like many of the big streamers do. It's a mess. Look, television evolved away from this for a reason. Syndicated, episodic, edited television became a thing for a reason and was a thing, big thing, for years. There's a reason why this stuff evolved away from just turning on a broadcast and going live. And mostly talk radio is what still does stuff like this. There's a reason why things went the way they did. And we're naive and delusional to think that the internet version of it won't go the same way. So it's, so yeah, hats off to these Twitch streamers who've ground up their way up to some critical mass on Twitch, and now they're fighting like hell to hold on to it, even though this trend is ugly. And it would be even more of a thing if it wasn't for the fact that we're being threatened by another variant that is a recombinant variant with Delta. But I'm just trying to wrap my head around. I've never been in this position because as a content creator, I've always believed in having a job, and doing things part-time. Because I was there when full-time YouTubers during the Great Recession made something of themselves, but sacrificed their creative freedom to do so in the first place, because now they have to pay the bills with their YouTube videos. So they can't make exactly what they want to make anymore because they have to pay the bills with what's popular. Part-time creators don't have that limitation. But we have an entire generation now that wants to be YouTubers. The Zoomers when they were kids polled, "Oh yeah, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up." Little do they realize that those YouTubers they were inspired by, they became full-time YouTubers at a time when everything sucked. The Great Recession. Jobs weren't as easily findable in that day and age when we had the financial crisis. And even though corporate profits after tax came roaring back, St. Louis Federal Reserve, go look it up for yourself. Even though corporate profits after tax came roaring back very quickly after the crash, companies pretended there were still problems for years afterwards. And it affected how they hired, who they hired, and there was all kinds of crap where companies would post fake job postings to queue applications in case someone quit to keep labor costs down, and all kinds of other crap that is very, very, very tied to the Great Recession. A generation spent, if they weren't lucky enough to get into something like being a full-time YouTuber, they spent years being underemployed, and now people won't take them seriously anymore for what they actually studied up for when they go for jobs. There's all kinds of crap that happened back then. But that is why these full-time YouTubers became what they are and inspired a generation. The full-time YouTubers became what they are because everything else sucked. They got lucky to be able to be a full-time content creator at a time when the only job they could have gotten, no matter what their credentials were, was like $8 an hour at Target part-time. Then they have to jump through bazillions of bureaucratic hoops to get a crappy job like that. Context, people. Study your history and know it. But that's the part two of the story behind, you got Zoomers whose childhoods were affected by the Great Recession. That's the part two of the story. You might have been inspired to be a YouTuber by somebody you saw on YouTube. You don't know. Do you know the backstory of them? Have you seen their terrible looking videos from 2010, 2011, 2012, or even 2009 or so? Have you sorted their channel oldest to newest? It's like, really? So yeah, it's going to get ugly. We have essentially a talent inversion where too many people want to be the entertainers, not enough people want to be in the audience. And these days, I absolutely detest the term normies. Let me tell you something, get back to full screen here. Let me tell you something about being a so-called normie, as though there's some kind of second-class citizen in this ecosystem. Those normies in your audience are the reason, content creator, why you are anything. And you know what? The talent inversion in my neck of the woods is so bad. We have generations of people that don't want to do dumb, mundane, normie jobs or whatever, that driving a forklift in a warehouse, of all things, can get you close to $20 an hour, if not $20 an hour. What is that, calculator? What is that the equivalent of in Twitch subs? You make $20 an hour working full-time. 20 times 40, 800 pre-tax per week. The asterisk on this thing is still kind of busted. Times 4 is $3,200 pre-tax a month, divided by 2.5 with that infamous 50-50 sub split for tier 1 $5 a month subs. 1,280 subscribers. What do you think it's going to take to become a Twitch streamer with 1,200 subscribers to your name? For your all year long, by the way, for your reliable sub revenue as opposed to less reliable tips, donos, cheers, and sponsorship deals, if you can get them. What is it going to take for the reliable part of a streamer's income like this? 1,280 sub. What's going to take to have this year round as a streamer for you? When do you think you're going to get there? Are you ever going to get there? Do you think you're ever going to get there? Especially on a platform like Twitch that's fundamentally smaller than, you know, many of the major platforms out there, because the focus has been very niche for most of the platform's history. Gaming, even to this day, still about 85% of the hours watched. The expansion categories, for all their pomp and all their drama and all their other stuff, still primarily Twitch is a gaming platform. It's just oversaturated to the point where people forget about all of that. What's it going to take? So you drive a forklift 40 hours a week for the equivalent of 1,200 subs on Twitch. It's a reliable job. You go in and do it, and they have such a hard time keeping people doing these dumb, boring jobs that they like you if you just show up and get stuff done and don't complain too much. So you can make this the equivalent of being a Twitch streamer with nearly 1,300 subs very, very easily with little effort. Just drive to work, do your job, and go home. This is the stuff that people don't look at when they're looking at, I want to be an influencer. Then they don't think about, for example, something that the entertainment and sports worlds have known for a very long time. For every person you see, and you see more of them because they made it, everyone you see that made it, you don't see the people that didn't. The tons of people that didn't, unless you do some digging. My example with sports, Major League Baseball. For every Major League Baseball player, you don't see the tons of people that never made it out of the minors. When I was growing up here in Connecticut, we had AA baseball teams, the Norwich Navigators, the New Haven Ravens, and the New Britain Rock Cats. Hardware City to some people. 3 minor league teams in Connecticut. You could go to Rhode Island to watch the Paw Sox. They've now moved to Worcester if you're a tourist. I still don't get the whole Wuss Sox thing, why nobody thought of that when they rebranded to the Worcester Red Sox. But you have AAA in Worcester, Worcester, if you're from a family like mine. You have AAA there. You used to have AA in Connecticut. And I think now there might be like single A teams, some of the former ballparks and stuff. But I mean, you could watch a baseball game, be like $2 to get in if you took a cheap seat in the bleachers and chased foul balls and stuff like that. You know, you go to a minor league baseball game, you'll see some people, they seem to have their stuff together, but then you read the yearbook or the program guide or whatever it is you can buy from, you know, from the gift shop or whatever about all the players. And you see players retiring at age 27 from the minors. And I'm like, whoa, you're still 27. Why would you still, you're only 27. Why would you not keep playing baseball? It could be because you've been playing for 5 years since graduating college and you didn't make it to the majors. So you have to wonder, do you really want to still be on buses instead of flying planes for hours at a time and making like $100 a game or something? Not very exciting money as a minor league baseball player. Or do you want to actually pursue something that'll get you a more solid career since you didn't make it to the majors in a certain amount of years? That's the example from when I was growing up about how you can have something like what we have with Twitch and YouTube, where for every major creator you know about, even the small ones, with like 300, like hundreds of concurrents instead of thousands. There's plenty of people out there that never get anywhere near that. It really is a terrible popularity contest. So then you talk about Twitch. You talk about a platform that has a kingmaker problem. For the longest time, there wasn't a lot of algorithm technology. Now there is, so this might mix things up eventually. But Twitch is known for, you find a few streamers that you actually want to watch for hours every day, and you stick with those streamers. There really isn't much in terms of browsing or curiosity. Now, Harris Heller, many years ago at this point, talked about how Twitch could do more with clips to discover people. But even if you could discover new streamers to watch via clips, even if you could do that, would you really have the time to follow more than a few streamers at a time? In my case, is maybe a handful of streamers that I'll even watch, much less watch significant amounts of hours of these days. Streaming is fundamentally very limited because this personality streaming that Twitch has made into what it is, this personality streaming is very demanding of viewers' time. If you want to say you're a real fan of XYZ streamer on Twitch, you have to be willing to have it going on your second monitor, your primary monitor, something like that. You have to be willing to spend hours of your probably limited free time as a normie. You have to spend probably hours of your free time as a normie watching these people. Do you have that amount of time? Has something else piqued your interest? And you're like, do I want to watch these YouTube videos or these TikToks, or do I want to watch this streamer for 6 hours? It's just this mental gymnastics that it's going to burn people out. It's a limitation of live streaming. And then, unless you hire an editor, what can you really do with the footage afterwards as opposed to crafting something from scratch instead of trying to shoehorn stream footage essentially into some kind of YouTube video to have a YouTube presence on a channel that I'll tell you right now, many people on YouTube who are OGs or so whatnot, went there primarily for videos, will spot streamer highlights videos from miles away and not watch them very much. Because they know they're kind of just cobbled together because you can't do as much with stuff you can't edit. Fundamental difference between live and video. So, yeah, it's rough. So, when I did the Ninja Turtles collab with Logan, I figured that I would get much better results on. I didn't know I would get this much better results on YouTube. But between live and after the fact, it's been wild, the differences here. Because I actually checked out, we can check it out right now. I'm sure the data is in there. Logan 589XP, Sully Gnome. Monday, June 13th, got up to 5 concurrents. Now that's Smash Brothers. It hasn't even registered it yet. Hold on, it hasn't even registered that stream yet. That was the 24th. That was his last Smash Brothers stream. Nah, it hasn't even picked it up yet. Interesting. We'll see when Sully Gnome ever picks it. What about Twitch Tracker? Will Twitch Tracker pick it up? Let me see here. Twitch Tracker. Somebody's got to have numbers on this by now. There's plenty of crawler systems analyzing Twitch data. All right, here he is on Twitch Tracker. 24th of October. No, the Twitch Tracker doesn't have anything after the 24th of October. The systems are a little screwy. All right. Well, so much for that idea. But he didn't mention that it was like 1 concurrent max or something like that. It's just then the views. Well, if there's only 3 views when I checked it shortly after stream, before all the F5s and whatever after the fact there is, then yeah, it would have been like 1 concurrent or something like that. But I was not expecting this big of a difference between these platforms with games that neither of us should have been anybody with at this point. So there's that's going on, and there's other stuff that's going on with regards to Twitch internally, but it just fundamentally, Twitch has a lot of stuff to work on, and it just, at this point, they're so far behind, I just don't know how they're ever going to catch up. The minute one of the big platforms does what Twitch does well enough to make people want to do stuff over there, and it's not just nerds like me doing stuff on YouTube because we're already established there, you're going to see Twitch become the niche platform with the cool kids on top running everything until they get sick of it too. It really depends. It really depends on, you know, the way things go in the next year or two. The pandemic, by the way, I mean, we showed that stuff earlier. A lot of the explosion in growth here is largely the result of a, let's face it, a once-in-a-century pandemic. Besides, growth was stalling out in 2019. So you combine all that together. So let me just hammer out a few things before we go to the PowerPoint slide to round things out here. The revision of my why I'm not a Twitch streamer slide from earlier. So fundamentally, Twitch has a very strong brand, especially related to gaming. It is very attractive for people that want to use this as a social media platform for gamers. And I don't think Twitch's leadership has really done enough to really make this a gaming destination. They could, you know, if Twitch added video capability at this point, unlike the 2010s experiment, which flooded this platform with Let's Plays, if Twitch added more gaming support in general and turned this platform into a gaming hub, I think there'd be more interest in it from people besides folks that want to be the next Ninja. So, but as it stands, Twitch is a niche platform way smaller than YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, even Twitter and Reddit. So there's a smaller audience overall. There's barriers to entry when you first come over here, like needing third-party add-ons for your browser just to read chat properly for all the Pepe Frogs, Monka W's, Franker Face, Better TTV, etc. Somebody who's completely new to Twitch is probably going to think people in Twitch chat are completely nuts. Including me, by the way. One of my favorite emotes is Wide Peepo Happy, because I know that it's rough for streamers right now and it's about to get worse. So the least I can do when I'm in various streamers' chats is just smile and be nice. They probably need that break from the crap they're dealing with right now. It's called giving a darn about others. Something that I know a lot of people on the internet have problems with. So it'd be nice if I could be, you know, an exception. So when I pop up in some folks' chats and I'm like, doing like Peepo Happy, Wide Peepo Happy, or cracking terrible dad jokes with the smiley face, stuff like that. It's the least I can do in a very rough environment that's about to get worse. Because I hate to break it to you, I'm a nerd. I'm old, and I follow these kinds of things all the time. Many of these younger millennial Zoomer streamers are none of that. So they might think it's some kind of personal failure, even though it's just the way things are. And stuff along those lines. But so Twitch is small as a platform, small and niche, not a lot. So there isn't an audience to begin with. And then there's still a big amount of inertia that directs people to the top. When people come to the platform, they're going to be introduced to big streamers first. They're going to have to do digging if they even want to find anybody who's not the biggest and most promoted. So there's this kingmaker problem from the design alone on Twitch. And then we know from the Silly Gnome 365 that things are in decline right now because the pandemic bubbles are bursting. So what was already rough enough for you as somebody who's not in that elite cool kids club at the top is now getting worse. So, and the competition's trying to achieve feature parity with Twitch and offer what Twitch offers and more. Like, after the fact, evergreen anything at this point. And even platforms previously not even known for video are getting into streaming, like Instagram as a subsidiary of Facebook and TikTok. Well, no, TikTok was known for video. Who am I kidding? I'm thinking Twitter. Didn't Twitter have some kind of live stream thing? They did something like that. Yeah. So, yeah. It's just, between all of that, other than maybe a couple of special events here and there, some things I want to do just to do them on Twitch, or the exceptionally few things like watch parties from Amazon Prime that I could do over here. To who for an audience, by the way? Since we've already established the audience is small, you're not going to get an audience nearly all the time unless you play the category game, and it's getting worse over here. Why would I even want to do that? Aside from very, very, very few niche things, I cannot, for the life of me, figure out what to do with this darn Twitch channel. And that's why it is out of the socials bar in everything I'm doing over on YouTube and elsewhere right now. You can click to find this link if you dig around my social links on Linktree, YouTube, etc. But at this point, Twitch is kind of like Daily Motion for me. I can't for the life of me figure out what to do with it because there's just so much that I could be doing here that's just plain better off elsewhere. And the Ninja Turtles thing last night was just more evidence of these changing times we live in. It's better to have a stream playlist on your YouTube channel than to have a Twitch channel in the first place for game streams. Make it part of what you do over on YouTube, but not everything that you do on YouTube. You know, don't like change your channel to be a gaming channel, but hey, throw in a few games here and there. You're better off letting the algorithms munch on them than coming to a completely different platform to do that stuff these days. Some of my streams, by the way, have been surprising in terms of the views they've gotten after the fact. Sometimes up to 6 months later. Typical slow-ass YouTube algorithms, but they did something. All right. So yeah, I can't for the life of me figure out what I even want to do on this channel anymore. And when I compare it to, as someone who's established on YouTube, I can say that it's better to pursue getting further on YouTube than to pursue getting anywhere on Twitch. And for somebody who's not established on either platform, I think the extra work it takes to get established here to the same level that you would be established on YouTube, it just makes it not worth it. So for the foreseeable future, except for updating this, if by chance I ever figure out what I want to do over here, my best presence on Twitch is as someone who's that nice guy in the chat. That's it. I just can't for the life of me imagine myself trying to be more of a content creator over here. That was a 2020 thing from back when I quite frankly didn't know better. And unfortunately, that's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. It is June 25th, 2022. We'll see what happens in a couple months. I don't know. Let's go to the slide. I've updated a few things since the last time, and I will leave my prior discussion on this matter as a highlight on this channel, as one of the things people can come watch if they're so inclined to do so, and I'll send it over to YouTube after the embargo is up. PowerPoint mode, please. Why I'm not a Twitch streamer, let's go through the bullet points. Many of these have not changed. Some have been moved further up the list, and some have been replaced. Twitch has improved their monetization to the 55% ad split with ad scheduler, and I think it's a great system, but I don't think a lot of streamers are going to be disciplined enough to use it properly because they're just not used to that level of structure in what's usually an off-the-cuff live stream with only a little bit of planning here and there. Biggest change is that the banned streamer rule is my #1 reason for not wanting to be anything on Twitch except somebody in chat. The banned streamer rule, it is you're not allowed to knowingly advertise a suspended user. You can get banned from Twitch for that. This is unique to Twitch. The YouTube answer to the banned streamer rule is the circumvention policy, where if you are stream banned because of a TOS violation or community guidelines strike, if you are stream banned on YouTube, you can make your own punishment worse by circumventing the ban to appear on someone else's stream or something along those lines. But you are the one that is held accountable for your actions. Twitch takes it a step further and will punish the other person. This is unique to Twitch. It has lots of unintended consequences, not the least of which is anybody who's smart enough to figure this out won't want to stream on Twitch if they want to watch Twitch streamers. I don't want to be banned, maybe for a technical reason or a bureaucratic reason, and then nobody on Twitch is allowed to talk about me, ever. I have to be ignored by my friends like I've been disfellowshipped from some religious group or something. Or kicked out of a church or whatever. And the preacher's like, that person is a sinner. Don't talk to them. Get them out of your life. Blow them off if you see them in the supermarket. Keep yourself holy and pure in our little group that's right while the rest of the world is wrong. I grew up with some of that stuff, so I'm familiar with it, unfortunately. I spent years settling down from being wound up unnecessarily as a teenager by hateful preaching like that. Us versus them crap, baby. That's how divide and conquer works, but the hotheads who do it are too stupid to figure that out. Tribalism. Anyways, the banned streamer rule. This by itself is reason for me not to do anything on Twitch. If nothing else was on this list, the banned streamer rule would do it. I like being a nice guy in chat. I like watching and enjoying streamers. It's not worth it to be any kind of streamer and risk some weird ban that now means people can't talk about me and they have to blow me off. I'm not walking on eggshells. I'm going somewhere else. Full stop. We can end the stream right here, actually. But we're not going to. Let's actually go through the rest of the slide. Just know that this by itself, unique to Twitch, is a huge problem with lots of unintended consequences, and everybody who figures this out that doesn't want to walk on eggshells holds back the talent pool on Twitch, and in by extension, the growth of the platform. If Twitch were bringing in more people and getting them more interested in watching Twitch to the exclusion of the YouTubes and the TikToks and the other platforms out there, this would mean that there were less people to watch. The effects of the banned streamer rule are getting masked by Twitch's current issues with their audience ratio and being small in general, which leads to bullet point 2. Twitch is smaller than YouTube. You know, Twitch is smaller, less developed than YouTube, and under Amazon, they are in a different position than YouTube is under Google. With the corporate governance, the investment in the technology, what they're able to do, and even the kinds of people working there. It's a very different world. And quite frankly, with Twitch not even making the Statista list of largest social media platforms by monthly active users, when even Twitter and Reddit and Douyin, the Chinese wing of TikTok, separated from TikTok itself. So international TikTok is still big enough to make the list. You know, fundamentally, it's like some people who've made the switch have talked about, difference between being in a pond and being in an ocean. There's plenty of places to swim in the ocean, plenty of people out there, plenty of fish in the sea. Twitch is more like a pond these days. And it's drying up, quite frankly, with the concurrent stuff. Here's another big thing, and this is kind of the root cause of the banned streamer rule being a problem. But there's way more problems than the banned streamer rule. Twitch punishes people for other people's actions. So, supposedly there's an interest in context, but we see that it's inconsistently applied. There have been stupid reasons why streamers have gotten banned and have had to be blown off and persona non grata until they found their way back on, until they got their ban, taken care of, If they're perma-banned, that's it. Why would you risk that? The other thing that falls under this is the whole moderation thing. This is something I have a screenshot of. Chat moderation. We had that hate botting problem a couple of months ago. One of the reasons why that's a problem is because Twitch streamers are responsible for what goes on in their chat, even though it's the actions of other people. People who had to register accounts and agree to the terms of service in order to be on the platform. Yet it's the streamer that gets punished for not, and can be reported for not moderating their chat enough. That's a problem. More walking on eggshells, more mental health problems, more anxiety. That's what this leads to. Meanwhile, on YouTube, if you go into any streamer's chat, the first thing you see is this big red box. Welcome to live chat, whatever it is. Remember to protect your privacy and follow our community guidelines. You are responsible for what you post on YouTube, even if it's text or even if it's not a video. People can get community guideline strikes and lose their accounts for what they post in comments, what they post in chat, even the playlists they put together. If they put together an inappropriate playlist by taking appropriate videos and putting them together in a playlist that's inappropriate, they are in trouble for what they did. As opposed to Twitch punishing people for other people's actions. The Asmongold incident with the Diablo Immortal thing and people putting racist stuff in the in-game chat, which he forgot to cover up, is one of these things. That was the behavior of other people. And the problem is, as long as Twitch continues doing this, they create essentially a hate game where there's ways to get streamers banned, so you try and find loopholes like that to try and get them in trouble. Even IRL streaming, you know, malicious stream sniping or something to try and get someone banned because they're responsible for what they broadcast. So some idiot goes running in front of your camera with a TOS sign or something. Yeah. The next bullet point is very similar to this. Twitch culture has a Hanlon's razor problem, and Twitch has become the new Twitter. Twitter has been improving itself from the cesspool that it usually is with the rollout of various algorithms. So if you express interest in nice stuff and not like drama crap, the algorithms will actually pass you more of it in your feed. I get a lot of cat videos, cute videos of like pets and stuff like that. My Twitter feed is way better than it used to be because of those algorithms. But Twitter fundamentally is my historical example of how a social media platform's design alone invites trolling and harassment. Even little details like not being able to do anything, not being able to remove toxic replies to your tweets. You can hit hide reply, but then everybody knows, click the weird thing, go see all the nasty stuff people said. So it's the sort of thing that people can just take the wrong way over and over again. It's a design problem. Twitter encourages negative behavior because of its design, and it's a great example of how the design of a platform alone can encourage negative behavior and harassment. Hanlon's razor is this idea that you cannot assume that there is malice involved in a situation with someone's behavior unless you actually have a good, compelling reason to believe so. I mean, in other words, people can do stuff that is stupid, naive, and ill-informed. Not everything that happens to you is happening at you. Not every bad thing that happens to you is someone else's malice or insult towards you. People can be stupid. People can do dumb stuff. People can be ill-informed. People can screw things up. So, with some of this putting the worst construction on things' behavior has made it over to Twitch, and some of the drama crap that Twitch streamers follow and sometimes chase clout with. But Twitch has taken the role of Twitter with all of this type of stuff. Then there's Twitch Trust and Safety, evaluating mass reports of stuff and banning people or pushing them to the edge of a permaban because of stuff that, quite frankly, was taken the worst way possible. Even if it's from a large streamer who is very much established that they're capable of making constructive, productive content and only made an occasional mistake. They're getting punished because nobody is perfect. But Hanlon's razor is probably the most useful thing that Twitch employees could learn right now with what I've seen big streamers getting banned for. So they got to get better at differentiating between stupid mistakes and stuff that actually has malice behind it. The next one, and this is something that applies specifically to some streamers I've seen, Twitch exclusivity sabotages YouTube. So Twitch exclusivity, we know that's a problem in and of itself with the affiliate agreement, partnership contracts, etc. But there's also the thing that I tried talking to Twitch support about, and they stuck to the script. There's a problem with clip snipers, where what that means is people who have YouTube channels that are third-party clips of Twitch streamers. What they do is they help themselves to uploading the clips to YouTube, which gives them ownership in the system because they're faster than the streamers and their mod team. So that leaves the streamers in a terrible position. Either the streamers DMCA them and make use of the DMCA tool to get them copyright strikes on YouTube, which is very bad for publicity, or they risk losing their affiliate or partnership status by doing a private stream to YouTube at the same time, because YouTube lets you stream privately and do invite-only streams. So what I would recommend that certain streamers do who have this problem and they're getting kicked out of the partner program for reused content, even though the content is their own, is do a secret private stream over to YouTube just to establish ownership in the Content ID system so that the clip snipers cannot get ownership of your own stuff before you do because of the cooldown period for Twitch exclusivity. But that's fundamentally, if a Twitch streamer wants to be a YouTuber, this sabotages their ability to be that way, because they're going to get in trouble on YouTube's side of things for reused content with their own stuff because of this. Ironically, there was that time when Twitch actually sent around partner guidance to streamers saying, make YouTube videos for publicity reasons to make people want to come over and watch your Twitch streams. So they can encourage Twitch streamers in some ways to, get involved in YouTube, and then sabotage their own ability to get involved in YouTube because of this little loophole in the exclusivity system. Granted, this is a YouTube problem that, whoever uploads first is considered the owner in the system. It is a YouTube problem. But if it wasn't for the exclusivity and the wording of things, Twitch streamers could just private stream to YouTube, maintain that exclusivity by people can only see your content on Twitch for 24 hours, and still gain ownership in the system so the clip snipers can't get them in trouble with YouTube. That's just one of those unintended consequences of, again, something that's exclusive to Twitch, unique to Twitch. Exclusivity, you don't see this kind of stuffy exclusivity except in special sweetheart deal contracts with really big content creators over on other platforms. But this is just one of the big ways between all of this. Then there's the audience ratio. Quite frankly, Twitch is too small for what it does. Twitch routinely has the lowest audience ratio in the industry, and that's with rigged numbers, by the way. Twitch gets to have more of its traffic involved in its numbers, while YouTube and Facebook are limited to game streaming in the quarterlies that Streamlabs and StreamHatchet puts together. If Facebook Live and YouTube Live were part of this, we would probably see YouTube and Facebook as the biggest streaming platforms in the world due to all the wildlife cams, news footage, other stuff, the non-gaming live events on the other platforms. We talked about this earlier, though, with Twitch being just small to begin with, and it's getting smaller because of the dropping traffic. Everybody's kind of having problems with that, but Twitch already being small to begin with is just going to have more of a problem with less critical mass for all the people that want to be Twitch streamers. Another big issue here. I almost said dissue. I was like, what? Twitch doubles down on live streaming only and streaming's drawbacks. Streaming, we mentioned earlier, demands a lot of your audience. If they want to follow your streams a lot, that they have to give up a lot of their free time. And are they willing to do that? Can they do that? Do they have the attention span to do that? Live streaming's drawbacks also mean that you are left with stuff that's harder to edit together and other stuff. So if your content's not live, it's dead, basically. And then Twitch not having a video presence except for token upload capability when you become an affiliate is fundamentally part of this problem. You get more on the other platforms for the same effort, quite frankly. YouTube is more professional. There have been some times when Twitch has communicated with streamers in a very unprofessional manner and sometimes gotten quite petty. There's some other things like Reddit and Discord that have problems like this. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of anti-corporate stuff, maybe in the people that found some of these Silicon Valley companies. But over the years, they rediscover why corporate America got the way that it got, so to speak. YouTube is more professional, quite frankly, sometimes too professional and robotic. Sometimes it's hard to get through the robots to get to the people, but I think that's the lesser of the evils versus somebody has a personal vendetta against you at Twitch. Suddenly you find yourself in trouble for really stupid reasons or what have you. And don't forget the banned streamer rule. Favoritism with discipline and TOS. I've seen this firsthand myself with Twitch ambassadors threatening to kill people on stream and not having anything happen to them. Yeah, so this is something people have known for a long time, that there's a favoritism. There's even been a do not ban list at some point. I don't know what they do these days, but favoritism has been a very regular thing. Again, less professional, more petty, more personal crap. Intermingling with far left politics. There's elements of the disciplinary system that are very political and stuff like that. And then there's political hotheads with channels and stuff that if they were as angry as they are on the right, they probably wouldn't have channels anymore. Again, yeah, company became what it is in California, but you got to remember, companies do not have the luxury of having opinions. Every opinion a company formally publicly declares limits their customer base. That's the way business works. So getting notably political with certain things on Twitch, especially with their official events and their official live streams, fundamentally limits Twitch's growth potential, because anybody who isn't at least as liberal or whatever as the folks that are speaking for the company, they don't have much of a reason to get involved in the Twitch ecosystem. Twitch's audience skews younger. Let me actually check this one out right now, see what they're up to. Twitch is very much a kids platform. And the way to check that is to go to twitchadvertising.tv. Yeah. Let's see here. Twitchadvertising.tv. Let's see what it's up to. It was turning into basically a Zoomer platform last I checked. What people are saying about Twitch. Meet our audience. Click. See here. Nearly 75% of Twitch viewers are between the ages of 16 and 34. I think there was some COPPA things. They used to say how many teenagers were in the audience, but I think there was some kind of COPPA issue with that, or, you know, way you handle minors. YouTube has been under the microscope for that too. So it's become very rough these days. These platforms really aren't for kids, even if people are playing video games that might appeal to kids. Nearly 75% of Twitch viewers are between the ages of 16 and 34. Latest number. Was it like that last time? I don't know. Bottom line is, I'm technically over 40 now, so why should I get involved in a platform where the audience skews younger, and it's the YouTubers that might actually have some gray hair these days? ASS, Angry Small Streamers. Some of the biggest warts on my online media experience right now is usually small Twitch streamers, Twitch affiliates, 20 concurrents a lot of the time. Starting big fights on Twitter. And of course, you have the content creator baggage issue of Twitch streamers being one way on camera and another way on Twitter, and you don't know what kind of person they really are as a result of that. The ASS, Angry Small Streamers thing, has become consistent enough that I can see someone flipping out on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, look, they say they're a Twitch streamer. Let's check their channel, and suddenly, you know, oh, look, Twitch affiliate, 20 concurrents, 20 average concurrents. They don't grow, and they get angry that they don't grow, and they wonder why, not realizing it's their behavior that's largely holding them back. Never mind stuff with the platform itself. Another weakness of streams that is unfortunately encouraging bad content via a culture that shuns proper show flow. Editing stuff is absurdly underrated. Yeah, I mean, I realize editing's a chore to get to know over the year, to get good at over the years. I know editing is a chore and a skill learned. A lot of streamers outsource that these days. But fundamentally, if you're running around live everywhere, you're just not designing things to be a better use of your audience's time after the fact. The fun, as many people have pointed out when they've accused me of not understanding live streaming or being some kind of boomer or something, the fun with live streaming is that it's happening live. There really isn't too much value for that after the fact. It's very hard to make it fit any other context. If you're not in the chat, not able to respond, it's not all that interesting, quite frankly. So, and if you're banned from chat, then what's the point? You know it's going to be worse than on YouTube and stuff, but we can talk about the parasocial side of things later. I think that's a massive weakness of the personality streaming on Twitch. But it's a viable way to do things if you do things right, but not very many people do. Emphasis on concurrence. 2-viewer Andy, 10-viewer Andy, 100-viewer Andy, 1,000-viewer Andy. The fact that people care about numbers at all, Twitch folks actually found a way to be worse than YouTubers jockeying each other over subscriber counts. Feel a little weird. Have I been sitting down too long? Probably. That's one of the problems with streaming. Is fundamentally, yeah, I suppose I have. It's one of the reasons why, streaming, why I support the new ad system. Make people get up and do stretch breaks once every hour. Be really good for their health. I'm curious which of these younger millennial streamers going into their 30s is going to start having health problems from sitting around playing video games for too long, for too many years. We haven't seen that yet, but I imagine it'll be a big news story, at least on Dexerto, whenever it does. And there'll be probably this drive like, hey, take care of yourself, get exercise, da-da-da. Different discussion. I'll take that with me back to YouTube. And the emphasis on concurrence at all. This is particularly a big thing for new streamers as well, because to get Twitch affiliate, you need 3 concurrent viewers for a month. Literally anything you stream that doesn't have 3 concurrents, like what I'm doing right now, literally anything you stream that doesn't have 3 concurrents is a soft ban on getting monetized. So you'll have a new streamer, they want to stream, they want to get better at streaming, but they literally cannot do that They literally cannot do that when they're not getting 3 concurrents. Otherwise, they're soft banning their progression on the platform into being monetized. So YouTube does not have that. It's what I call the 2-viewer Andy problem. Literally, being a 2-viewer Andy when you're not an affiliate yet is bad on Twitch and good on YouTube. On Twitch, it's bad because you're not at 3 concurrents. You're soft banning yourself from getting monetized. On YouTube, the progression of partner is based on watch hours. There is no concurrent thing. Facebook doesn't have it either, but Facebook's another story. We're talking mostly YouTube here because that's my preferred platform, quite frankly, and for very, very solid reasons, even though the streaming element's not as developed as it could be. Your 2-viewer Andy stream on YouTube gives you, plus they have after the facts, they can get you more views as well, gets you views and watch hours and maybe subscribers if people subscribe to you. So it's a good thing on YouTube. It's a bad thing on Twitch because and only because of the emphasis on concurrence that is unique to Twitch. Never mind the harassment of people jockeying each other and putting each other down because I have a bigger audience than you, which is really childish, by the way. YouTubers do it too, but less often. This is the new one, slower ad revenue growth. Twitch's new ad system at 55% of an ad split matches YouTube, but you're gonna grow ad revenue slower because if your content's not live, it's dead. Your ad impressions are gonna come largely from your current live stream, which will encourage you to grind, which is fundamentally unhealthy, and it means you have lower quality content than people that plan things out, have proper shows, and make proper use of people's time. So the audience feels like they're making good use of their time by watching you. So, because Twitch is a streaming platform and YouTube is an everything platform, except for like text and images and stuff, because Twitch is what it is and YouTube is what it is, the 55% ad revenue split is going to be more of a thing on YouTube than it will ever be on Twitch, simply because of the limitations of live streaming and the limitations of Twitch as a streaming platform. Weak technology DMCA hate botters. This falls under punishing people for other people's actions when the hate botters were a thing earlier. The DMCA in particular, with the lack of a content ID system, encouraged rights holder groups like the RIAA, etc., to develop crawler robots that automate DMCA claims to Twitch. Now, what's stopping them from pointing those at YouTube and bypassing content ID? Especially when these rights holders know that there is a scene on, there's a VOD barfer, as I call it, stream on YouTube, of Twitch streamers who are so afraid of DMCA that they spit all their VODs over to YouTube so content ID can pick them up. Hopefully the music companies will, or whatever, will just take the content ID money and not give them strikes until one of them, like Sony Music Japan and the incident with Cook Sucks, decides to bypass the entire system and automate strikes against streamers on YouTube. So it's a way that Twitch's weak technology has made all of online media worse, because now, you know, you can't really use content ID as a reason for, it's a nice alternative to strikes all the time. It's better for PR. But if you're talking about companies from countries like China and Japan who have different views on free speech and different views on copyright law than we do in the West, that totally complicates things back up again. And who have I been seeing on Twitter getting called out for this? Tencent, MiHoYo, or whoever the makers of Genshin Impact are, Sony Music Japan. There were incidents involving Nintendo, obviously, also Sega of Japan with the Shining Force scandals in the 2010s, which Total Biscuit commented on. Shows how long ago it was. May he rest in peace. You know, the weak technology affects more than just Twitch, quite frankly. It's pretty sad. DMCA hate botters. I mean, again, Twitch streamers being held accountable for other people's behavior. So someone programs a bunch of robots to spam racist crap, and then some independent third party like the folks that programmed Seribot have to program a workaround solution to something that could be addressed through Twitch's own systems. Has been addressed since then, but account creation could still be locked down a little more. The opportunity costs of streaming in economics, opportunity cost is the cost of what is basically what you didn't spend your money on. If you have a choice between a hot dog and a hamburger for $1, you take the $1 hamburger, the opportunity cost is the hot dog. So you spend X amount of time streaming, grinding away on Twitch, a streaming only platform. You don't get into other stuff or as much as you could have. You get 5 years into streaming, hours a day on Twitch with your limited time because you got to sleep and stuff. And you start having cognitive dissonance. You start thinking, would I have been better off as a YouTuber making more evergreen videos that people might still be watching years later and still bringing in revenue, as opposed to my streams, which I tried to make into videos, but people see through it. They don't get the views of YouTube, of regular YouTubers. And so a lot of my ability to bring in income is too dependent upon stuff that I have to grind away for. There isn't enough passive income being developed. YouTube treats streams like videos. YouTube added streaming to a robust video ecosystem, including the algorithms, much as they cause problems for some people these days. Because of that, though, you do a good enough stream, you plan show flow, it also, you know, it'll get views after the fact. People will check it out. It's going to take a while for the culture to develop, but when it does, we'll have a situation where streams are just long-form videos. YouTube already has a long-form video scene with video essays where people watch big, long videos that deep dive into certain topics as like background noise. They treat them like streams, essentially, except they're listening to what the streamer actually has to say. So long-form content, and don't forget there's also movie rentals on YouTube as well as movies that are free to watch. But long-form content has a scene on YouTube. There's algorithms supporting it, and there's ads being placed on things, and there's all kinds of other stuff going on with regards to that. So treating streams like videos as opposed to the disjointed upload system that isn't even really used in the UI over here on Twitch. The search results are limited if you try browsing for videos on various games. And bottom line, Twitch is about streaming. There really isn't much else going on here that's really worth looking at besides that. YouTube treating streams like videos is a plus. So I don't have to feel like I'm giving something up by streaming instead of making videos. And it also introduces the idea of hybrid streaming. If you don't have much for an audience that day, you basically treat it like it's going to be a YouTube video. And then you have a cloud editor and some other stuff. Hey, by the way, let's go back to weak technology for a bit here. YouTube also has technology to edit things after the fact. So if something TOS happens, the solution is not always, oh no, delete the VOD. So if, say, someone had like a racist thing in my stream, I set it to private, go into the cloud editor and blur it. This is related to DMCA. If I get flagged in Content ID by a record company because of background music playing in a restaurant I went to or something, and it gets flagged for Content ID, I run the song scrubber to drop the bit rate, and it'll sound like my stream lagged, but it will release the claim because the quality will degrade drastically. So, and YouTube's working on that, and the AI that powers it to make it more precise, like to try and keep your dialogue if you're talking over a PA, things along those lines. So, and then, of course, there's the writing on the wall, which I've been seeing all year, quite frankly. Many Twitch streamers are evolving away from grinding away streaming so much, to the extent that haters are like, they're cooking the content, they're nerfing the content, I am subscribed for this, what the heck, why are they not streaming enough, why are they only streaming enough to make their stream hour goals, why are they playing VODs instead of streaming? Because they know the world is changing, you dumbass. Whoa. I'm getting a little too into it here. What the? I better get this done soon then. The drinks, man, the drinks. Yeah. So, yeah. Streamers are figuring this out. They're not just sitting there waiting for the ball to drop here. They're actually getting into things like Instagram, making YouTube videos, etc., considering switching over to YouTube and just doing everything there, stuff along those lines. But YouTubers have always known that content can be anything. You know, it doesn't have to be limited to a very narrow niche of stuff. You should always be open to trying new things. I'm seeing that from numerous Twitch streamers this year. And then the ones that aren't are just streaming in like exotic locales or differentiating themselves in various other ways. And lastly, and this covers literally everything else, that's why it's the last bullet point, even on this second revision here, nearly all of what I could do on Twitch, I can do better on YouTube. There are very few things that would be better on Twitch, and Amazon Watch Party is one of them, and maybe a few experiments for the multimedia meta that specifically require the Twitch environments in order for them to do what I want them to do. But just like I said, I can't find anything really to do with this channel anymore. It just doesn't, the numbers don't add up, and the activity isn't what it should be, and other stuff. And I have learned enough of the differences between YouTube and Twitch to understand that it's better for me to just continue trying to progress on YouTube than to try and be anything here. And the ban streamer rule, again, by itself is reason for me to just be in the audience and not go too wild trying to become a streamer. At least not on here. So the coming years are going to be very interesting when it comes to the development of online media. When streaming becomes more of a thing in other places as though it hasn't been already, and all kinds of other stuff. But I hope that this clears up. Or that there we go again. Most of the discussions I have in chat streams these days come out to about an hour and a half. Too short for me to be taken seriously as a streamer without just sitting there with my mouth half open playing video games for hours or reacting to stuff. That's another completely different discussion. I don't think you should do quantity over quality by reacting to too much stuff or padding your stream with too much recap and stuff. But that's a completely different argument, completely different discussion. But yeah, for the people that find this channel and the people where I get a shout out on Twitch and they come over here and they wonder why I don't do anything over here and why I'm more of a viewer on Twitch, even though I'm a self-described multimedia nerd and OG old school YouTuber, blah, 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 circa 2006 for my channel. Even though things are what they are and whatnot, this is why I do what I do. I'll send this over to YouTube for any curious YouTubers who never come to Twitch that might want to see this discussion. But by and large, this discussion exists on Twitch. Excuse me. This discussion exists on Twitch to be an explanation of things. And I hope it has been definitely enough of an explanation. I've certainly gone into enough detail on things. Hopefully this is all the explanation that folks need to know why I am the way that I am. It's just better overall for me to do stuff elsewhere. And I legit can't come up with literally anything that I can do on Twitch that wouldn't be better done elsewhere, except for a few tiny little things that'll be few and far between. But that's the nature of things in markets, competition, even the laws of physics. Sometimes the things that we know are the result of the vector sum of all forces, so to speak. A market is the vector sum, so to speak, of all the influences on the market, public and private. Physics is the sum of forces, equal but opposite reaction, things like that. And it's just the way things are. And in the case of my next to no involvement in Twitch, now that I know more about the differences between the platforms, this is a great example of that. Well, back to YouTube with me and back to being the guy that does the dad jokes and the friendly stuff in the comments. I really wonder about some of the people that start drama on Twitch. What the heck is their problem? Because it's like, I don't know. I think if you sink to that level that you have to be the person who's always toxic in Twitch chat, you probably need to reevaluate your priorities in life. But that also is another discussion entirely. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by. YouTube.com/MultimediaJay. Like and subscribe. All right, back to YouTube with me.